to the press conference of Daniil Medvedev. First of all, congratulations, Daniil. 18th win in a row, and you are still going on. I know you said it's not your favorite court here, but what made you do so well?
Confidence for sure, because exactly 100% not my favorite surface and conditions. So a lot of these matches, I would honestly say, starting from the first match, if I wouldn't be let's call it in the zone, where you get a little bit luck on your side, some crazy shots, some crazy points on your side, I would probably lose early, like I always do here. So really happy that with all the circumstances and with all the crazy matches, I'm still in the tournament and still keeping the streak alive. And looking forward, for my semis. Nothing more to add.
You have the chance to look at your hand, your finger. Is it?
Yeah, well, that's nothing too bad, because actually the moment I cut it, I saw, like, I don't know if I should say it, but kind of the meat. So that was not nice to see. And they cleaned it now. Have a small tape, so should be fine. The question is going to be whether I tape it in 2 days for the match or not, but that's not a big problem, because I managed to play well with the tape today, and I mean a lot of players tape their fingers and managed to play well, so I'm going to be able to do it also.
Daniil, you were talking, I guess a week or two ago, how concerned you were after the way the year started in Melbourne. And obviously you've been on this great run now. Are you back to where you feel you should be mentally?
Mentally, 100%. I mean, it's amazing. It's very tough to have these streaks, in tennis, because you always have an opponent on the other side who wants to beat you. Everyone wants to be in the semis of Masters, finals, winning the tournament. So it's tough, because anybody can beat you any moment. And when you manage to win that many matches in a row, it's just a pleasant feeling. 3 titles, but right now, my mind is definitely 100% here in Indian Wells. Want to try to get these last 2 matches. And the further you go, the tougher it is. The more confident your opponents are, because if you play semis or final, it means that you are feeling good, either with the courts or conditions, either in your confidence, which is more the second one for me, but it's the same for other 3 players. So I'm sure Francis is feeling great right now and playing great, and it's going to be the same for guys who win tomorrow. But I feel great, and hopefully I can continue this way this season, because it's been a long time I haven't felt this way.
At the same time, if you look at it on the other side of the coin, there is that element, you keep winning and winning and winning, and there's that element of pressure that comes on to keep on doing it. How do you maybe try to avoid something like that?
Well, I like pressure, because pressure comes, the better results you do, the more pressure. It's actually funny, because I remember when you go from juniors to professionals, you feel like that's a huge pressure, and it actually is. When you start playing challengers after you played futures, that feels like a huge pressure. So every time something happens in your life, you feel like it's a huge pressure, but then 1 year later, you're like, actually, it was not that much. Now it's more. And that's normal. The more you live and the more you try to achieve, not talking only about tennis, the more pressure you will have, sometimes from your close ones, from your family, sometimes from the fans, sometimes from, press, media, whatever. So I know that in tennis, the more pressure you have, meaning probably the better you do. So that's great to have this pressure back. I don't know if #1 spot kind of threw me out a little bit, because a lot of ex-players say that this was tough for them. Honestly, it was not tough for me. It was a great feeling, but the result is that I didn't manage to do well when I was. So now I'm really happy that I'm playing good tennis, and I'm happy, really happy for the pressure to come back.
Hi, Daniil. First of all, thanks for your great answers on court and here.
Try my best.
I got a tough one for you, but last night, Iga, after she beat Raducanu, came in, and she said that A lot of the talk, of course, is whether the Belarusians and the Russians should have the right to play, but that players also have a responsibility just by being where they are, and that their access to media, and that she didn't understand. She was talking about the withdrawal of the Ukrainian players. She didn't understand how the Ukrainians sort of go on and compete with all that's going on. And she said that she felt it wasn't the fault of players to be born in this country or that country, but they have a responsibility. My question is, what are your thoughts, the pressures of the Ukrainians whose country is being bombed and their homes are being bombed? And do you think top players do have a responsibility to use their platforms?
Yeah, it's a tough question to answer. First of all, I definitely do feel sorry for all the Ukrainian players and what they go through. And for sure, the situation with Tsurenka, I don't know in details. It's more for her and for maybe a little bit Sabalenka to answer, because I actually didn't know about this till the next day. I was actually, because I finished the match before them, and then I was surprised there were doubles after. I was like, I thought there were a singles match, and then the next day I saw it. And talking about top players, of course, we have a responsibility, and it depends how every person, individual, will do with it and will hold with it. I always said the same. I'm for peace all over the world, to be honest, and that's all I can say.
When you say you're for, can I just follow up, please, very brief?
That's enough
I
for the
don't think so.
question.
You cut me off the last time. I would like to ask a follow-up to Mr. Medvedev. It's fair, it's brief.
But we've had enough discussion on this topic.
No, we
and I
haven't.
think we need to move to the next one. So
Let's hear the question for sure.
Thank you.
No worries.
I appreciate that. My only question is, and you said for many months that you're for peace, which is of course wonderful, but would you like to see that war end in the Ukraine?
I'll say, because I think in my answer there is an answer to this, that I'm for peace. So I'm going to continue with the same answer, because I do think that there is an answer to your question. Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
You know, I wanted to ask about, I know you're in this tournament, your goal is to keep the streak going, win the tournament, but I wonder if you have a vision of a long-term future. You see some of the people around you, Novak, Rafa, having these incredible careers, many slams. Do you look into the future and set your sights on a certain goal or a certain way you'd like to have your career go, or is it more just day-to-day, take the next match as it comes and keep working hard?
Definitely more day-to-day, because the only goal I set to myself probably around, whatever, I don't remember exactly, but 4 years ago, when I started to take tennis more seriously for a bunch of different reasons that were happening in my life, where before I was just, I was already top 100, but I was just traveling the tour in a way for fun, because tennis is never fun, it's always your job. But I could go out before the tournament, I could go to sleep late before the match, because I was like, whatever, I'm gonna play well anyway. And then at one moment I stopped this and I started being more professional about my career and my tennis. And that's when I set my most important goal is to have no regrets when I finish my career, meaning the match with Rafa. For sure, I regret that I couldn't win it and didn't have my second slam. I was close, but I fight it. I fight it till the end. Maybe I missed some shots, but that's sport. And I don't want to be, when I'm 35 or whatever, and I retire, don't want to say, like I heard some other tennis players do, if I would have done this different in my career, maybe my career would be better, or I regret doing this. I want to when I finish my career, no matter how many slams, tournaments won or whatever, just to know that I've done my best. And so far, that's I feel like I'm achieving my goal. Even last year, not the best year, but I was trying. I was trying hard. I was doing my best, and it has been working this year. So that's my biggest goal.
Daniil, just getting back to the #1 issue, how much did you enjoy being in that position? What were the pros? What were the cons? I mean, somebody like John McEnroe struggled at #1. Lendl loved it. Pete just went along with it. Sampras, how much did you enjoy it? How much did you find it difficult? What were the pros and cons for you?
Honestly, it's tough what I would say, but it felt normal. And when I say normal, not that I take it for granted or something. It's just like it felt great. I made because I knew that at the moment where when I had the number one, I was not playing my best and I was losing some matches. But I had this number one spot because I had whatever 2,000 points from US Open, 1,000 from Toronto, 600 Bercy, maybe 800 or whatever from Turin. So I had a lot of points accumulated during the last 52 weeks, and that's how rankings are. And I think that's very fair. Otherwise, I would be number one right now just because I won three last tournaments in a row, but that's not how rankings work. So I was really happy that I managed to take this spot and hold it for that long. I was not happy with the level of my tennis and with the matches I lost, but this had nothing to do with the number one. It was just, losing other tennis matches to other players. Are other tennis players trying to beat you more when you're number one? I don't know. I hope not, because it would be better for them if they try to do it every match, no matter which number you are at the ranking. What else? And for sure, the pressure is not easy because you know that everyone expects a lot from you. And I think that taught me even more because for sure, when I was 20 and just coming up, you love social media, you love reading all the comments about yourself, how people, okay, he's going to do good, or even he's a bad player. And you, when you're young, you sometimes answer to them like, no, I'm going to do good, that. And this pressure, being number one, for sure, a lot of haters. And that's normal. Novak has a lot of haters. Even Rafa and Roger somehow have them. And you're like, how is this possible? They shouldn't have. And that taught me to even less care about this and focus more on myself, on my close people around me, because that's the only way you can stay sane and true to you, to kind of, as I said, have no regrets just because someone said you should have put this backhand in the court. No, you know you did your best, and maybe your coach is going to tell you if you should have done something better, and he's the only person who can kind of tell you this.
You mentioned the pressure you felt moving from juniors to the seniors, so to speak, and the expectation is what I want to ask you about. When you come to a tournament for the first time, or when you came for the first time back then, I'm sure you had some kind of expectation.
You mean ATP tournament or which tournament?
Yeah, when you came on tour, when you went to events, I assume you've seen images and stuff. So when you went to certain tournaments, were there any surprises? Like this was unlike whatever I was expecting, or?
Well, first of all, it's great because it's completely normal level of organization, hotels, food, courts sometimes is much better on challengers than on futures. So when you come from futures, you manage to get in a main draw of challenger and stuff like this. You're like, wow, that's actually great. And so you want to stay there. You want to play good to stay there, to not come back to futures, because first of all, you want to climb up the rankings and you want to play these better tournaments. And then coming to ATPs, I remember my first one was actually in Nice, so I was staying at home, was a bit different. And then was Hertogenbosch. All the organization and everything, and that's normal. That's the highest level of tennis, is just absolutely great. And you're like, yeah, I want to try to play as many of these tournaments as possible. Then I played my first, actually Grand Slam is different because you play them in juniors and you already see the magic that is happening there, that the way that everyone is feeling about Grand Slams. And you just want to have this feeling and try to work hard to have it every day. And so far, I don't know how does it feel to lose it, because some people play worse and get back to challenger level, and then they have to scramble their way back to ATP Tour, if we can say like this, even if now many challenger events are probably not worse organized than ATP Tour events. And yeah, just a great feeling to be on ATP Tour, and that's why all the juniors wanna be in the top 100 and play all these tournaments. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.